everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of C14 Dating. So we have a little cutscene here, which I think we've already seen, but I'm gonna go ahead and replay it anyways. What is this anyway? It's like a rock, but crusty and reddish. I held up the odd conglomerated mess, which felt like a clump of brittle sticks poking out of a mud mass.
That's vomit, regurgitated from a bigger animal. I bet if you break it apart, you'll find a cluster of rodent bones inside.
Ugh! Please tell me I don't have to wash it. I don't want it to get all moist again. He chuckled as he returned to scrubbing a fine tooth with a toothbrush.
Nah, you can leave it as it is. One of the team members will dissect it later.
I should stop picking all of the bags with the most interesting looking stuff.
You can be like me and pick the smallest ones. At least I feel like I'm making progress when I can go through multiple reports in a day.
The table vibrated and Deandre snatched his phone as Hendrik looked in disapproval. After Deandre tapped the screen a few times, his face fell. He read something, then stuffed his phone into his pocket to hide it. Something up?
Just training schedules. Bad enough I have to miss most of them until I finish this elective. What do you train in? I was surprised you decided to repeat archaeology instead of signing up for a different course in the fall. Rugby. I play for Perona RC.
There was a beat before Hendrik shot up, the chair screeching back from the sheer force.
What? You play in the league? That's cool! If I remember correctly, you guys performed pretty well in the final game.
Wait. You're a professional athlete?
I've only been on the roster for a year. That's why I vowed to work harder this season. If you ever want game tickets, you know who to ask. Now I see why you retook the elective. Right. Once I get my required credits and graduate, I'll move to Perona. I'll be able to focus on my training better and regain my independence. Living in New Zealand drained me financially, and I miss having my own place, though it's possible my brother might join if he doesn't mind the commute to university.
You still plan to return, right? Talk about moving out. No, you still plan to return, right? Come back. You plan to go back to New Zealand someday, right?
I hope so. I actually want to travel during the off-season. You know, backpack across New Zealand since I haven't seen all of it. Maybe go to Australia after.
Australia? I'd love to go there for maritime archaeology. There's a lot of shipwreck sites. Aside from that, what else is there in Australia?
I admit, I wouldn't mind going there to see the Ayers Rock.
That famous landmark, right? Is there something special about it? Deandre and I shared a knowing glance and we braced ourselves for Hendrik's reply. He leaned in excitedly.
Ayers Rock, or Uluru, is an inselberg that was upthrusted during the Peterman orogeny 550 million years ago. Ayers Rock is actually a protruding tip of a nearly vertical slab of...
Chantal shrunk back from the spiel and Deandre groaned, cutting off Hendrik's explanation.
That sounds dirty. That's geology for you? Never mind.
The main door swung open and Rosemary stepped out.
Hen, reminding you that the group tour will arrive in about 30 minutes. They're on their way now. Already? Thanks, Rose. Melissa, I'm going to be ordering everyone to clean up and then head to the cave. We won't be able to get any work done with the 20-something kids around. Feel free to pretend to dig if you'd like. It's all for the kids.
Hendrik stood up and started the announcement in French. I returned the half-cleaned bone to the tin foil and began washing off the tools. I trekked up to the cave and hastily grabbed supplies as I made my way down to my usual square. Kyler was nowhere to be seen. Odd. Was he needed for something? Maybe he was helping out with the tour. I started my digging, albeit at a relaxed pace, until I could hear footsteps and the chattering of voices entering the cave. Hendrik led a middle-aged teacher and roughly 20 elementary students into the catwalk, forming a long line. Many of the kids clambered to the railing, poking their heads above or between the bars. They pointed excitedly at all of the archaeologists at work, or pretending to dig. It wasn't until I craned my head up that I spotted Kyler near the back. While Hendrik gestured to the roof of the cave, Kyler made fluid motions and signs whenever he spoke. Ah, the kids must have been curious about him. Slowly, the restless conga inched deeper, but Hendrik stopped where the railing ended. Even in French, I could tell that he and the teacher gave stern safety instructions before they reverted into the learning is fun voices. During the lecture, Hendrik would pause to address any raised hands. The tour was too distracting for me to focus on work, and I observed the class instead. Hendrik gestured to some of the archaeologists, including Deandre.
Salut, je m'appelle Deandre. J'ai curieuse pour l'art.
The kids laughed and shouted something to Deandre, who pretended to be surprised. Once the excitement died down, Hendrik glanced in my direction.
Hey Melissa, we mentioned that we had archaeologists from around the world working here. Say hi for us.
Smiling widely, I waved and stood on my tiptoes to give them a better view of me. Bonjour, je ne parle pas français. I'm from America. There was a chorus of laughter, probably from my silly voice and terrible accent. Hendrik nodded happily and returned to the students.
I love that face.
While Hendrik mentioned Neanderthals, I saw Deandre creeping behind Shoji Square, which was out of view of most of the students. He watched the group as if he was waiting for the perfect cue to strike. What's that idiot planning? Before Hendrik could finish his sentence, there was a loud roar followed by heavy stomping. Deandre emerged on the catwalk, lunging in a wide stance with arms raised above his head. The kids squealed happily in a mix of surprise and pretend fear, while Hendrik watched in bewilderment. Kyler straightened himself up, not impressed with Deandre's antics. He unleashed a stern line of words before pointing at Deandre accusingly.
Deandertal. Quoi?
The children erupted into laughter, and even Hendrik doubled over, one hand clutching his stomach as he leaned against the railing. It was Deandre's turn to be confused, and the two started their rapid-fire banter. The teacher tried to calm everyone down since Hendrik was unable to speak. Finally, Hendrik recovered, still chuckling between breaths, and mentioned for the class to exit the cave. The teacher repeated Hendrik's instructions, and the children slowly filed out, this time led by Kyler. Before they completely vanished, Hendrik said something to Deandre. Deandre was startled, but followed Hendrik, leaving us alone in the silent cave. Well, almost silent. Many of the students still chuckled, murmuring softly as they spoke about the events that occurred. The buzz was over, and I inserted my earbuds, preparing to excavate seriously. Still, that was rather entertaining. It seemed like everyone involved with the tour was having fun, including, dare I say, Kyler too. An hour later, Kyler returned and resumed his excavation. My curiosity won over, and I patted him on the shoulder.
Yes?
Sorry, I was wondering how it went. How did the rest of the tour go?
It was really, well, even with Deandre's antics, he's good with kids. Probably because he's childish himself and kept them entertained. This year has been a truly interesting experience.
Oh, in what way?
I've been talking to the other students more. First you, Shoji, even Deandre. I never expected Hendrik to ask me to help with the tour either. It's a bit overwhelming at times. I'm not used to socializing, but I don't mind it.
Even so, I think you're doing a good job. I'm not great at explaining things, but you seem more relaxed than when we first met.
It's something that I have to work on, but thank you. Aw, I missed your blushing face.
Feeling our conversation die down, we returned to our tasks. He was still as diligent as ever. I'm glad that he opened up a little during this excavation.
Alright, well that was adorable, and I know we've seen that one before, but I missed it, and I like it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.